Now, holiday let owners say government proposals forcing them to become more energy efficient might actually force them out of business. At the moment, holiday lets are exempt from having to have an Energy Performance Certificate, or EPC, provided the landlord rather than the tenant pays for the heating. But the government now wants to make EPCs mandatory for holiday lets. Owners say the cost of complying could make their businesses unviable. Seb Noble reports.
Holiday cottages like these are a staple of the Southwest's tourism economy. Neil and his wife own 4 of them near Looe. They're concerned about the changes they'd have to make if new EPC rules are introduced on short-term lets.
It's been recommended that we basically put floor insulation in, wall insulation and ceiling insulation, so effectively creating a box. Now this would necessitate me ripping up my floor, ripping out the kitchen, laying between 70 and 150 mil of insulation and relaying it. So that would entail retiling, redecorating, new floor, etc., etc. You then got exactly the same scenario with the walls.
And it's a similar story upstairs.
I may have to put 60 to 100 mil of insulation on the inside. I have to contend with the fact that, particularly downstairs, that the walls are all wavy. So it's going to be an expensive process.
What about on the outside walls?
Well, outside, they're all traditional Cornish stone buildings. Unfortunately, it's a Grade 2 listed complex, so I'm not going to be able to touch the outside. And then, of course, from a guest perspective, I'm not sure they'd want to stay in something which is, rendered in a sort of a modern manner.
The new rules would require owners to spend £15,000 per property on improvements to achieve a level C rating for energy efficiency, a cost Neil would find hard to bear.
It would be approximately 60,000 based on a 5-year old cost estimate, so it's likely to be a lot more.
£60,000 to do all that work. What's that going to mean for your business?
Well, if we have to do that, it effectively means that we will shut the business down, because it becomes unviable.
He's not alone. Industry bosses warn the cost of improving old stone cottages like these are prohibitive, putting the region's tourism sector in peril.
This is probably the biggest financial impact intervention that any government measure has had ever on our sector. It's too expensive, it's going to happen too quickly, so we think that a lot of people will just finally close the door. Our data is showing 30% is what we're seeing already. If you remove a lot of the bed stock, you remove the ability for people to stay in that area, and if they can't stay, they don't play and go to visitor attractions, and they don't eat or drink and go to pubs and restaurants.
The government's now looking at the results of its consultation about the changes. It insists it'll make houses cheaper to heat in future and help tackle fuel poverty. While some exemptions will be considered, owners like Neil still feel their industry's being given the cold shoulder.